Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rich Martini. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're having an amazing day. Guys, we absolutely have to start off this episode by addressing the elephant in the room. And by the room, I mean pop culture. The thing I am obviously referring to is the fact that today, Taylor Swift, why did I pronounce her name like this? I don't know. Taylor Swift finally regained autonomy. And what I mean by this is that today she finally purchased the rights to her first 6 albums. Now, if you don't know this, back in 2019, I believe it was, her old record label sold the rights to her first 6 albums to Scooter Braun. And all of this was apparently performed behind Taylor Swift's back and without her having a say in the situation. Because as far as I know, she would have made the impossible possible so that she can purchase the ownership of her own art. And the thing is, okay, maybe I should have prefaced this by saying that whether you're a Swiftie or not, whether you like Taylor Swift or not, whether you like pop music or not, that doesn't matter. Because the narrative that is being portrayed here is larger than Taylor Swift. The narrative is larger than the amount of money that was spent on those masters. The narrative is larger than the Eras Tour, than the albums, and all the success that Taylor Swift has had over the past, 20 years. So basically, what I think this should be is just a symbolical event of someone regaining their autonomy, of someone regaining their voice, and someone regaining their narrative. Because the thing is, after Taylor's albums were sold without her knowledge, without her participation in the deal, she no longer was to profit off of them, which is why, in order to regain not only the profit, but it's just the principle of it all, in order for her to regain her voice, she started re-recording the albums. And through re-recording them, she would change them, but by becoming the owner of her music, which is what her deal was now with those re-recordings, she became the owner of her own narrative. Because the thing is, art is someone's soul, and it encapsulates their experiences, their feelings, their traumas, their successes, their failures, their fears, their joy. And having that taken away from you, having that stolen from you, is just heartbreaking. And it leaves you on a stranded island without a voice, without any hope to be saved, because everything you are, everything you have spent your entire life working on, everything you have created was taken away from you. And I just think that now this, again, so much larger than Miss Swift, is just a phenomenal event in which we see a human who poured their heart, soul, blood, and tears into their art regain ownership. And this just makes me get full body goosebumps because I know how protective I am of my art. I know how protective I am of the podcast. I know how protective I am of every single poem I've written, of every single bracelet I've made, of every single thing I have created. Because I have spent time, energy, love, effort, and devotion to bring it to fruition. And if any of these, God forbid, were to be taken away from me without my knowledge and were to be profited off of, and I was just someone to observe someone reaping the fruits of my efforts, I know that this would have me have the largest, most significant cosmic crash out ever known to humanity. And I think she is a phenomenal businesswoman, the way she did the re-recordings. And I think the community surrounding Taylor Swift just made those re-recordings have the meaning they have. Because the entire narrative around this was about regaining your voice through expressing your voice yet again, showing that you are the creator of this thing. And no matter who exploits your art, you are the one who matters. And I just think that it is an extremely powerful story, a story which opened up conversations, a story which definitely changed the music industry, because this Swift herself said, why am I saying Swift as if I'm a reporter? This is what Taylor, but like also if I'm saying Taylor, it feels like if I'm addressing her by her first name, I don't know her and I don't want to sound disrespectful. So let's just say Taylor, and Taylor, by me saying Taylor, it is charged with love and so much respect. So what Taylor herself said is that this just changed the narrative around art ownership in the music industry. And it changed the way people, musicians, negotiate their contracts with their labels. Because at the end of the day, for a label, your music might be a marketable product. But for you, the artist, it is a sneak peek into the deepest, darkest, most private parts of your soul that you're willing to share. And I just think it is beautiful to see someone take control of their own narrative, of their own life, of their own art. And I think it is extremely empowering. And I am so, so happy for her. And okay, the other elephant in the room, Reputation Taylor's version. Of course, I, as a Reputation girly, am a little bit, damn, I really was a clown for that because, well, I'm not the type of person who would dissect every single sequin on every single of her bodysuits to find cues as to when Reputation Taylor Swift's version would be released. But I, of course, was looking forward to Reputation Taylor's version because I love Reputation. It's, I think, one of the best albums ever created. And to this day, I still have ingrained in me the moment in which, for the first time, I heard and watched the music video to Ready for It. Now I'm getting full body chills just thinking about this. Well, that was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So I was 15, and I just remember sitting in my kitchen, and we have this, let's say, the MTV version, well, Bulgaria's version of MTV, is called The Voice. And I just remember they played it, and I was mesmerized. I immediately went to grab my parents and show it to them because that song just, I don't know, like, but it resonated so much with 15-year-old me, even though I didn't know what the fuck the song was about. But that doesn't matter because music doesn't have to be understood to be felt. Like, for example, I might have not paid attention to the lyrics. Back then, my English comprehension level, see, still it fluctuates every now and then. So my comprehension of English was not on a level in which at which I would listen to a song, and just from listening I would be able to comprehend the lyrics. Also, when it comes to Taylor Swift's lyrics, I am very famous with my inability to comprehend what she's saying. Because yes, I was one of those to hear Starbucks lovers. And I was also during Style, when she says fade interview, I thought she was saying fake interview. And that they were just like, cruising down the road and they're interviewing each other, aka getting to know each other. And it's a fake interview because they're playing pretend. I don't know. Also, in Anti-Hero, when she says, at tea time, everybody agrees. I thought she was saying anti-type. So anti-type, everybody agrees because she is the anti-hero. So yes, very much me being unable to comprehend what she's saying sometimes, but that doesn't mean that I was not appreciating the art. Blank Space is still that bitch. And I remember I had my Nokia and it was still during the day. So when did 1989 come out? I genuinely don't know. I want to say like 2014, 2015 maybe, or 16, something like. No, see, if Reputation TV, not TV, if Reputation came out, oh my god, there's like a medical helicopter flying over my place. I hope everybody gets the help they need and I hope everyone is okay. Girl, oh my god, please, please, please. So anyways, so if Reputation came out 2017, then she was, in quote unquote hiding. She was out of the public eye for 2 years or something like this. So 1989 must have come out around 2014. Could I easily Google this and spare all those details and these thinkings and masterminding? Absolutely. Am I going to do this? No. So let's say 2014, and I still had my Nokia, and it was one of like it was surrounding the time of like YouTube converter and like convert MP4 to MP3, and I converted the music video to blank space to MP3, then I downloaded it and transferred it on my phone, and or maybe I had someone Bluetooth it to me, but I'm pretty sure I YouTube converted it because I also had a Walkman. And oh my god, one of the very first songs I ever downloaded on my Walkman was Live While We're Young by One Direction. Rest in peace, Liam. But I just remember that song was such a vibe when I got my Walkman, and I felt so CUNTY. I don't know if like my content will be taken out if I say that words, hence me spelling it out. What can I say? I didn't get too far into spelling bee competitions when I was a child, but still I participated. Doesn't matter. So yeah, One Direction Live While We're Young was the it girl for me on my Walkman. But so I remember I got blank space on my Nokia and I set it as my ringtone, and this is how my phone rang for over a year. And the thing is, because I converted the music video and not just the song itself, not just a recording of the song, there was a period of like a few seconds before the music started playing. So for the first few seconds that someone would be calling me, I would not know because it was just the music video starting. But also the music video to blank space, life changing. Oh my god, I just, guys, here's the thing. I am not like a diehard Taylor Swift fan in the sense that I don't know her blood type. I don't know what she ate for breakfast on her 13th birthday, but her music has been such a big part of my youth. And now when I finally have the ability to listen to music without having to look up the lyrics, because again, I just mentioned, and also back then I had a notebook in which I was writing down lyrics, and I cannot tell you how many songs of Justin Bieber I had written down because Justin Bieber was my it girl. I loved him so much. I had a full-on choreography to Baby, and then I memorized the choreography to What Do You Mean. He was an era, definitely an era. Don't get me started to All That Matters. Oh my god. Oh my god. Had 14-year-old me just screaming at the TV. Doesn't matter. So Taylor Swift's music has been a very significant part of my youth, and just seeing her grow makes me super happy because she has, well, inarguably been the biggest artist over the past few years, and just the Eras Tour was such a phenomenon, and I really wish I could have experienced it. But you know what? I am glad that I'm okay, that I'm alive, and that the attack didn't happen, so that I can get to enjoy her music safely at home. That's all that matters. But so, with her gaining autonomy, with her gaining her voice back, with her being in control of her narrative, I just think that this is such a big stepping stone when it comes to the further development of contracting, when it comes to artists' distribution and artists, signing to labels and whatnot. So, what I wanted to say about Reputation is that I, of course, am a little bit sad that there might not be a re release of Reputation. Although I will not lie to you, I know they were stolen and I know I shouldn't have, but I never not listened to Reputation because I think it's one of the best albums ever. I think it's just such an also, well, on the one hand, it makes me feel like I am the baddest bitch of them all. And if I am listening to I did something bad, you better not be in my way because I turn into a tornado, like a chaos. I am willing to wreak havoc. And then you also have some of the most beautiful love songs ever created. And it's just like, it's such a good album. And I really feel also, oh my God, when the Look What You Made Me Do music video came out, lives were changed. There's no denying it. And guys, I'm sorry. I know I'm fully like geeking out right now, but I just think this is such a big deal. I know that it is just a girl, like just a billionaire purchasing something, but it's not that. It's a girl, a woman taking control of her own narrative that was taken away from her, that was stolen from her. And I just think this is inspiring beyond music, beyond the 6 albums, beyond Taylor Swift. I think this is so symbolic about what it is to be a woman. How women, a lot of the times, are undervalued, underappreciated, and have their art stolen from, or at least someone else takes credit for their art. Ask almost every single woman who has contributed to the development of any groundbreaking scientific discovery. And we don't know their names. We know the names of the men who took credit for their art, for their intelligence, for their hard work, for their time, for their dedication. And now, this, again, is bigger than Taylor. This is bigger than Reputation. This is bigger than Red. This is bigger than Taylor Swift. This is bigger than Speak Now, Fearless, and 1989. This, and I know that some of you will be out there saying, oh, this is such radical feminism. No, this is the story of a woman taking credit for what is her own. This is the story of woman regaining her voice after she was silenced, of a woman fighting with nail and teeth to regain the credit of her success and doing it phenomenally, doing it incredibly successfully, and doing it in a way that's never been done before. And why am I tearing up? I don't know. But it's just, I think this is such an empowering narrative. And ladies, listen to me. I know maybe some, if not most, if not all of you, have done things that others have taken credit for. I know some, if not most, if not all of you, have not been recognized for the devotion you give to your projects, for your art, for your love, for your effort, for your time, for the blood, sweat, and tears you spend to create the things you created. This is a testament that we should not put up with this. We deserve to have the credit for our own efforts. We deserve to reap the fruit of our own gardening. And let this be a motivation for all of us to fight for our voice, fight for our autonomy, and not let anyone else take control of our narrative. You know what? Shout out to Taylor Swift, man. Like, I respect you so much. I respect you so much. And man, just imagine the exhilaration that person is feeling right now. And all the hard work is paying off, all the worrying, all the fears, all the tears, everything is paying off. Seeing your dreams slip away little by little, and then you creating new dreams, you regaining your dreams, and you realizing all of them is just mesmerizing. And of course, the fans have a major role to play in it. Because if it wasn't for the fans, she wouldn't be re-releasing. If it wasn't for the fans, the re-releases wouldn't have been the success they were. If it wasn't for the fans, the Eras Tour wouldn't have been the thing, the phenomenon it was. And this again seems to show that with support, we can blossom. There's always going to be hate. There's always going to be people who think ill of us. There's always going to be people who wish bad on us. There's always going to be people who are joyful in our failure. There's always going to be people who think that our happiness is their sadness, who think that our success is their failure. It is our duty to let the love and support of the people around us deafen those noises. Because you have the choice to focus on something. You can focus on the hate, you can focus on the love. And I'm not saying that either of them is realistic, because I don't know Taylor Swift. In her personal life, my opinion of her does not matter to the slightest. I don't know her. I don't know if she's good. I don't know if she's bad. I don't know if we should categorize people as good or bad. I'm just saying that in Taylor Swift's life, I, as an individual, don't matter. And that is okay. That is to be expected. That is normal. And I just think we can either focus on the love or we can either focus on the hate. It is very difficult to not focus on the hate, because in an outpour of love, you are of course going to notice the one hate comment. And I feel like it is very human nature that if you receive 10 nice messages and one negative one, the negative one is going to outweigh the positive ones. And you would be like, wait, but why isn't this an 11th positive message? And it is about reshifting our focus and letting ourselves be supported, letting ourselves fall if we have to, but not give up. This is about us letting ourselves be loved. This is about us letting ourselves be supported. And this is about us seeing setbacks as a step back, not as a failure, not as an end point, but just a comma, a dash, a colon, whatever. Everything but a full stop. Because the whole point is that you are the one who should have the right and the control to put the end stop. Your story should not be told by someone else. Your voice shouldn't be taken away by someone. Your voice should be amplified by the supporters you have and the love they give you. And even if your voice is met with silence, even if your voice just echoes in a desert and then disappears, that is okay, as long as your voice is yours. Because your voice is the way for you to express your identity. It is a way for you to verbalize your thoughts, your feelings, your soul. And you should be the only one in control of it. And I hope we are all in control of our own narratives. We are in control of our own autonomy, of our own bodies, our own minds, our own feelings, our own souls, our own experiences and lives. So I think I'll leave this topic to that point. I'm just happy for Miss Taylor Swift, and I hope now she can sleep well without the demons of the past haunting her, because despite everything that was said about her, despite certain people's attempts to bring her down, she persisted. And again, I don't know her, so my opinion doesn't and it shouldn't matter. Because now her story is not narrated by others. Her story is narrated by herself. Taylor, babe, I know you probably would very much like to be excluded from this narrative, but I don't think it was a coincidence, because there's never such a thing as a coincidence when it comes to you, that you left your reputation and your name to be reclaimed last. And now they're officially yours. So, congrats, babe! This is Reputation, Taylor's version. Anyways, now that we have addressed the elephant of the room, I wanted to share with you something that I saw in the cinema. And the thing I'm referring to is Thunderbolts. So, guys, I am obviously going to give away spoilers because I feel like it's been almost, if not more than a month since the movie came out. And I know today I talked to some friends. They told me that they were waiting for the movie to be released on Disney Plus so that they can watch it instead of going to the cinema to spend money and see it there, which it is totally fair. However, and this is not a critique to my friends, this is a critique towards Disney. Well, here's the thing. If a streaming platform announces that it's going to release a movie to be seen on the platform a month after it has hit the theaters, this is extremely discouraging to people when it comes to going to the cinema. Why would you go and spend money, in my case, I only go on Mondays because Mondays are student days and they have discounts for students. So why would I spend €9 to go and see a single movie if I can spend €5 a month and have a plethora of movies at my disposal, have every single movie from Disney's catalog in the palm of my hand? Of course, that from a financial point of view doesn't make sense. And Marvel, it is owned by Disney, so every single Marvel movie is on the Disney Plus platform. So this is something I really don't like, this discouragement when it comes to going to the cinema. I think that the cinema is such a beautiful industry and it's such a nice way to socialize, and I just loved going to the cinema. Well, obviously I have been explaining my love for the cinema for the past half year, I feel like. So I really wish, I get why platforms do this, but also I think it was exactly with Disney Plus that there was a scandal with, I believe, another Marvel movie. If I'm not mistaken, it was the Black Widow movie, which I haven't seen, by the way. And they, I believe, released it on the platform, uploaded it on the platform a week after it hit the theater, so it was still to be seen in the theaters. And again, who would spend €9 to see a single movie if they can spend €5 to €10 and watch a different movie every single day? That just doesn't make sense. So Anyways, I understand why my friends would wait for Disney to post it on the platform. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying this as a critique to platforms, because streaming platforms not only have changed the way we consume media through binge watching and just this availability of content at all times, but they have changed the way content is produced, the way movies are produced. Movies now are supposed to appeal to a certain structure so that they can be marketable on social media. But also, you can see a significant difference from between a movie that was made so that it can become a box office hit and a movie that was created for the sake of creating a movie, for the sake of creating art. Of course, I'm not going to go into details now because I would also need instances, and I'm not prepared to have that conversation right now. It's just the difference is there and it is whatever. So, Thunderbolts, again, I'm going to give spoilers. Guys, if you haven't seen the movie, I think you definitely should go and see it because, in my humble opinion, this was one of Marvel's best movies in a long time. Now, the thing is, my relationship with Marvel is a rather fangirl obsession one. So, of course, when I was little, I would, if they were playing it on TV, I would watch Iron Man or Spider Man or something like this. But I was never a die-hard fan of Marvel. Like, I hadn't seen every single movie from the MCU, which stands for Marvel Cinematic Universe. I hadn't seen every single movie in order. Well, some argue that you don't have to watch them in order. That is very interesting. It's also the same with Star Wars. Again, I think owned now by Disney. It's interesting how Disney owns almost everything. Anyways, so I hadn't seen the movies, all of the movies, and I just remember when Tom Holland became Spider-Man, which I know, guys, I know this is a heated debate of who your Spider-Man is. I'm sorry, but my Spider-Man is Tom Holland. I think he was phenomenal casting and I think he did a phenomenal job. And there's just something so heartwarming about his Spider-Man. I'm not saying that Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, the man that you are. I'm not saying that their Spider-Mans are not great. Their Spider-Mans are amazing, outstanding, beautiful, never the same, never done before. Spit it, shit on it, put it in a blender, drink it, and whatever else Lady Gaga says. But my Spider-Man is Tom Holland. I feel like I resonated the most with his Spider-Man, and also, come on, it's with Zendaya. And I grew up watching Zendaya. I have so much love for that girl and so much respect for, well, woman. I just love her. I grew up watching her and just seeing her career evolve into the thing it is now is just so heartwarming, because the thing is, of course, I'm parasocial with the people I grew up watching. Like, don't get me started on the way I perceive Ariana Grande's success, because I was watching that girl every single day after school. They were giving me entertainment, they were giving me diversion, they were giving me laughter, they were giving me companionship. And I just loved my Disney Channel and Nickelodeon characters. I love them all and I respect them all so much. And just seeing them progress and blossom into the beautiful artists they are is just so nice, because I don't know those people, but I root for them very, very hard. And this is not me contributing to some sort of celebrity cult culture. It's just I love seeing people succeed. I love seeing someone who dedicated their entire life, sacrificed everything, sometimes willingly, sometimes unwillingly. And I just love seeing when someone sacrificed everything for a goal, finally achieve that goal, and be recognized for their efforts and the time and devotion they put into it. So I am a sucker for such a success story and whatever. So Tom Holland was my Spider-Man, and because I was obsessed with his Spider-Man, I just started rewatching the movies I had seen, and I also started watching the movies I hadn't seen from the MCU. And I was watching them in chronological order, which now I'm not too sure is the best idea because again, there's theories about the way in which you should watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in order to grasp a certain narrative, but I watched them in chronological order. And I just remember it was this one summer. It was probably, I don't know when Tom Holland's first Spider-Man came out. I want to say 2016, 2017, something like this. What is it with me and today just guessing ages? I could easily Google this. Also, Google implementing this AI feature. I'm sorry, but it sucks so much. Is Google stupid now? Because not to hate on it, actually, Google, if you're looking for people, hire me. But the thing is, I just really don't appreciate this AI implementation in every single aspect of our existence. Because if the universe wanted me to find out, she would not give me the answer immediately. She would have me Google it, and if I don't find it on the first page, then I'm never finding out. I'm not going to the second page, and I get it. Like, this is a way to ease the consumer experience so that, Google can stay the prevalent search engine. Because I don't think Google's threatened in any case because they're so massive. But this is a way, to show their users that they're improving and they're growing and they're working in a way to make attaining information as easy as possible for the user so that they can keep using Google. But I just really wish it didn't implement this AI, or at least I wish it gave me the option to opt out of it. And as for now, from what I have gathered as information, I am not able to turn it off. And I really wish I could turn off the AI in Meta products because I just don't think it's necessary. Whatever. AI penetrating every single aspect of our life is a completely different topic. Let's stick back to the MCU. So, the summer after the Spider-Man movie came out, I just spent an entire month watching every single MCU movie chronologically, a movie a day. And maybe it wasn't a month, maybe it was just, well, I know it took a month because but I don't think there's 30 movies in the MCU. But the thing is, I just think sometimes the movies would take me 2 sittings to finish because some of them are quite long. And I know Martin Scorsese. I know you say that this type of movies is not cinema. I recognize it, girl. I get it, but it's entertaining. So I was just obsessed with Marvel at that point. I got a Marvel phone case. Well, that's pretty much it. I was, but everything, well, and of course my wallpaper was Marvel, whatever, but I just loved the MCU. It was just a different era, and I was, getting to see Endgame in theaters was just so heartbreaking. I remember I went to see it with a friend from school, and we just cried our eyes out. But because we were like, no, I'm not going to cry about Iron Man dying. We were trying to hide it, but of course you're going to cry when Iron Man dies. And I know they're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back, but he's not going to play Iron Man. I think they're going to try to somehow bring him back to life because they have the commercial interest to bring back their it girl because they can milk him for financial purposes, as bad as this sounds, but this is unfortunately what business is like. And if they somehow bring Iron Man, which I would assume could be done by Doctor Strange or something like this, even though, Doctor Strange was like, I cannot bring him back, whatever, whatever. If they can bring him back, and they do bring him back, I hope they can do it tastefully and not in a way that's just for the cash grab. So I went to the cinema. My movie of the month was Thunderbolts, which, if you know or if you don't know, perhaps is better, is now called the new Avengers. So the movie, I think, was so necessary to remind us what Marvel are capable of. Because after Endgame, I have not kept up with Marvel the way I used to pre-Endgame. Of course, I have seen Black Panther, I have seen Spider-Man, obviously, guys, when I went to see it, and I knew that there would be 3 Spider-Man because I asked one of my friends who went to see it, and I went to see it with a friend, and he nearly broke my arm in the cinema because he was like grabbing it, shaking it to be like, oh my god, Tobey Maguire, oh my god, Andrew Garfield. I'm like, yes, babe, I get it, but like, ow. So anyways, seeing that movie in the cinema was also something phenomenal, because that's the thing about Marvel movies. They don't hit that well if you watch them at home. They are the type of movie that you would want to experience in a movie theater. So Marvel has the potential to be so back. Again, I haven't kept up with it, but I know that the one with Jared Leto didn't do well. I haven't seen the Black Widow movie. I even haven't seen the Eternals or something like this, the one with Harry Styles, which is a crime because everybody knows that I am a Harry through and through. Like, cut me, I bleed Harry Styles. Don't cut me, please, because I cut myself today at work and it was not pleasant. And I cut myself right where my knuckle bends, and those are annoying because like with every movement the one just reopens and whatever. So I loved Thunderbolts. I think this was such a strong comeback for Marvel, and it set the expectations for the next one rather high, and I really hope they don't disappoint because let's be real, they have the budget, but they also have the possibility to disappoint, and they have disappointed before. So my expectations are high. MCU, please. Well, I don't know if this is considered MCU because maybe it is MCU, it's just like a new phase. Please don't disappoint me. What's funny about watching the movie was, so Black Widow's sister and her dad are part of the movie, and they exchange a few sentences in Russian. And the thing is, again, so the movie, I watched it in English, but they spoke in Russian and the subtitles translated it to Dutch. So I did not understand anything. And I was like, okay, I need to show this to people who keep claiming to me that Bulgarian and Russian are the same. So this I couldn't necessarily understand, but I am sure it would have been a great contribution to the plot. It also reminded me of when I first went to the cinema when I came here 4 years ago, which is just a crazy sentence to say that I came here 4 years ago. And I went to see this one movie with Benedict Cumberbatch, but I don't remember what the movie was called. Now I'm actually going to Google it because I will not be able to go to bed if I don't know what the movie is. It was about like, I think Nazis, or like, it wasn't about Nazis. It was, wait, Benedict. I couldn't have spelled Benedict worse. Well, I told you, the spelling bee champion, not me. Cumberbatch movies. Okay, that's not helpful at all. The Courier. So it's a 2020 movie. I went to see it in 2021 here because it was part of one of those I went to this introduction week from this organization, and it was a way to integrate yourself in the community and just meet people. And they just took us to the cinema and we saw the courier, or however you pronounce it. And it's so not about Nazis. I don't know why I thought it's about Nazis. Wait, let me look up what it's about, because now it's in Dutch and now it's in Bulgarian. Let me look it up in English. So yeah, it is about the Cold War and this spy played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and who is on a mission to smuggle, and I quote, secret documents from defected Soviet officer Oleg Penkovsky. Um, so I remember half of the movie was in Russian, and I was just sitting there and I was like, this movie is in a language I don't speak, and the subtitles are in a language I don't speak. What am I doing here? And I did not understand half of the movie. And I remember back then I had met those people, because well, that was the entire point of the event. And they were like, what do you mean you don't understand? I thought like Bulgarian and Russian are the same, because at that point they hadn't heard about Bulgarian. They only heard about Bulgaria that evening when they met me, and they thought, I love people asking me if Bulgaria has its own language, because I'm like, okay. I mean, like, I don't claim to be one who is very well versed in geography or, culture, because the thing is, in geography, I am terrible. It was my lowest ever grade I got in my entire education. I barely passed, and I was so scared that I'm not going to pass that I ended up like basically eating the entire textbook with the cover. Like, I read everything. Like, you could test me at 2 a.m., wake me up, and I would be able to tell you everything. So, after that I passed, but geography was never my strongest suit. But still, like, guys, I mean, like, I can get it. Like, if you've never heard of a country, you would, not know if that country has its own language or if it speaks a different language. But I would imagine that you, as a European, would have heard about Eastern Europe. Because the thing is, okay, you know what? That is not true. Because I remember I was talking to this person from a Western European country, and so in my old flat, we were a mixture of, we were, I think, exclusively European. Yes, exclusively European. And half of us were Eastern European, half of us were Western European. And by Eastern European, I mean, I was the only Bulgarian, and then there was four Romanians. And we were talking to our Italian flatmate at the time, and I just remember her being like, yeah, I don't know anything about Eastern Europe. For me, everything Eastern from Germany does not exist. And I'm like, oh, babe, like, that's not it. Because, like, Germany is so not Eastern Europe, you've no clue. Like, Germany is almost as west as Europe goes. I'm not saying that, you know what I mean. It's just, I don't know. I know that Eastern Europe is severely ignored in, well, global education, but like, well, I don't mean the Soviet Union or its impact on Eastern Europe, but just, I feel like maybe not Eastern Europe, maybe the Balkans are very much, the underdog. And I really wish it wasn't the case, because our culture there is so vibrant and so diverse and just so worth studying, but what's more, so worth experiencing. And I just wish we were known for more than just, the Netherlands and Austria not wanting us to join Schengen. Anyways, so Marvel movie. Yes, the new Avengers, Thunderbolts. I liked it because I felt like it was one of the few Marvel movies that wasn't just like pew 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 and poof and pew and poof and whatever. I feel like this was a movie that actually had a meaning, and it dealt with depression, it dealt with mental health struggles, and I think it might have opened up a realm that Marvel hadn't necessarily touched upon before. So the thing is, in a movie like this, how do you argue who the main character is? But one of the main characters slash the main villain, Bob, just plain old Bob, actually turns into from so he has superpowers, and those superpowers, instead of being used for good, just like overcome him, like his the darkness within him overcomes him, and he uses those superpowers for destruction. And the thing is, that darkness just turns him into a shadow, and he destroys people and New York, because of course everything takes place in New York or like London. Also, when I went to London and I saw the Gherkin, I was like so starstruck. I don't feel like I was that starstruck by Big Ben, even though like Big Ben, come on, like I know we are mocking people who fall on their knees in front of Big Ben and cry, but guys, that was almost me, because I've talked about this before, the West being just so unattainable where I came from, and just seeing those stuff and places and buildings and architecture and culture was just so mesmerizing. But the Gherkin, seeing the Gherkin, I was like, this is the building which gets destroyed in every Marvel movie. Well, not, I don't think Marvel have actually gone beyond the US. So I don't know what I was referring to, but just in general, no, they have gone abroad, because like Spider-Man went abroad. Well, just like in general, in every single movie that takes place in London and there's destruction happening, you see the Gherkin be destroyed. And I was like, I've seen this building get destroyed so many times on TV, and now seeing it in real life, I was starstruck. Like, if I ever hopefully again one day have the chance to go to London, I would just love to spend a day looking at the Gherkin, because I don't know, I just have such a connection to that building, even though it's just a building. I don't know, I love it. So yes, the main superhero slash villain was turning everything and everyone into shadows. And I just think this was such a nice metaphor for what battling with your own darkness can do to you and to your perception of the world, and how it can destroy your world. I At this point, guys, my like every single word I say is a tongue twister, so it is what it is. I need to wake up for work in 5 hours. That's so exciting. But I was waiting, for things to settle down a bit before I started recording. You know what it's like. I'm not going to explain it to you. I explain it to you every single week. But a thing I couldn't stop thinking about while watching the movie was the fact that Bob, when he became like the super villain, I don't remember what the name of the super villain was. So guys, have you seen The Incredibles? You probably have seen The Incredibles. I assume you have seen The Incredibles. I still haven't seen the second part, which is a crime, I know, because I grew up watching The Incredibles. I wanted to say loving, but like also loved watching, so you know what I meant. Whatever. Bob, when he became the superhero turned supervillain, reminded me so much of that one character from The Incredibles. Let me look up his name because I don't remember. The Incredibles villain. I never know how to spell villain. Syndrome. Look up Syndrome from The Incredibles and tell me that this is not the development arc of Bob from Thunderbolts. It is like shot, reshot, remake of the entire narrative. It was the exact same thing, and I was trying so hard not to laugh while making the connections because, come on, it's the same thing. But whatever. I miss The Incredibles, and I really should watch the second part because I just remember that movie being so, so good. And I remember my sister had a poster in our room because I was sharing a room with my sister until I was like, I don't know, like until she moved out. So until I was 14, 15. And one of her posters was The Incredibles, and I just loved it. And can I say one thing? Life was so much better. Life was so much different back when when Pixar and Disney animated movies were animating bloopers. I think that was hilarious. I think that was just chef's kiss. And I think we should bring this back. Maybe this is what defined the downfall of our society. The fact that animation creators stopped animating bloopers. I know that this probably adds months to their work, but it is just such a cool, nice little touch that is not little whatsoever. And I just remember Monster Incorporated had also one of the best movies ever created, period. Incorporated had some of the best blooper scenes ever. Although at the time when I was watching it, I couldn't necessarily understand what bloopers were. Like when I was a child, I didn't fully comprehend necessarily what actors and actresses are until, I don't know, I grew up a little bit. But I used to believe that, like they just present to you those characters as actors, not as something animated with that purpose, but something animated to be an actor or an actress to fulfill the role of that character. And I just remember, what was the name of that? Well, he wasn't the villain in Monsters Incorporated, but the green one. And I'm not talking about Wazowski. Mike Wazowski, Monsters Incorporated. What was your name, sir? What is your name, sir? You're a green one, Mr. Grinch. It's a mean one, not a green one. Doesn't matter. But the monster I'm looking for is green. Green. Not Mike Wazowski. How many times do I have to tell you not Mike Wazowski? The one who was like not mean, but like on the meaner side. Randall. Randall? Is it Randall? He's not green at all. He is fully purple. It's okay. It's okay. I just remember them making them like break characters in those bloopers, and that was hilarious. And I think we should bring this back because this is what is going to bring our society in its bloom. And this is what I think might solve political crises and recession. And I think on this very hopeful note, we can leave it here. We've covered the hope of taking back your own narrative, taking control of your own voice. We have covered Thunderbolt. We have covered my love for Monsters Incorporated, The Incredibles, and just my nonsense about I don't even remember what. So, I want to thank you all so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was rather chaotic, but guys, I just could not contain my excitement when I saw those pictures of Taylor because I was like, this is big. Whether you like Taylor Swift, whether you don't like her, I don't give a shit. You can recognize that this is a big deal in the world of music, in the world of art. So with that being said, Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this episode. I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye. Actually, guys, I really want to start editing bloopers into my podcast, but I think I will need a video podcast. So consider this foreshadowing. Ciao.